Did you know that Disney initially thought that Pirates of the Caribbean would be a massive flop? In fact, they were so skeptical of Johnny Depp's portrayal of Jack Sparrow that executives worried he was ruining the movie. Yet, here we are, over 2 decades later, looking back at how a theme park ride adaptation became one of cinema's most successful franchises, before losing its way. From an 80% Rotten Tomatoes score to a devastating 30%. From groundbreaking practical effects to CGI overload. From character-driven storytelling to convoluted plots. This is the story of how Pirates of the Caribbean lost its treasure. The franchise that gave us the legendary Captain Jack Sparrow and revolutionized the pirate genre has undergone a fascinating yet tragic transformation. The first film shocked Hollywood in 2003, delivering the perfect blend of adventure, humor, and heart that made over $650 million worldwide. Fast forward to 2017, and we're watching a bloated, soulless sequel that barely resembles the magic that started it all. How did we get here? What turned this groundbreaking series into just another cash grab? But before we dive into the 7 reasons that sank this legendary franchise, a real quick ask that if you're new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, please take a second right now to hit that subscribe button. It's one small click for you, but a huge deal for us. Thanks. Reason number 1. Losing the core magic. Let's start with what made Pirates of the Caribbean special in the first place. The first film wasn't just another summer blockbuster, it was lightning in a bottle. You had the perfect trio of characters: Elizabeth Swann, the governor's daughter yearning for adventure, Will Turner, the humble blacksmith with pirate blood in his veins, and of course, Captain Jack Sparrow, the most charismatic anti-hero to ever grace the 7 seas. The chemistry between these 3 characters was magical. Every scene crackled with wit, tension, and genuine emotion. Elizabeth wasn't just a damsel in distress, she was clever, resourceful, and destined to become a pirate king. Will wasn't just a sexy love interest, he was a man wrestling with his identity and legacy. And Jack? Well, Jack Sparrow was the wild card that made everything unpredictable and entertaining. But something changed after that original trilogy. The delicate balance between these characters was lost. By the 4th film, Will and Elizabeth were completely absent, and by the 5th, they were reduced to mere cameos. The franchise forgot that Jack Sparrow worked best as part of an ensemble. He was the spice, not the main course. Reason number 2. The villain problem. If you want to understand the franchise's decline, look no further than its villains. Geoffrey Rush's Captain Barbossa and Bill Nighy's Davy Jones weren't just great antagonists, they were complex characters with understandable motivations. Barbossa's curse made him tragically human, while Davy Jones' broken heart turned him into a monster with whom we could sympathize. The decline started with Blackbeard in On Stranger Tides. Despite being played by the legendary Ian McShane, he was just evil. No depth, no compelling story, just a generic bad guy who happened to be a famous pirate. Then came acting icon Javier Bardem's Salazar in Dead Men Tell No Tales, another revenge-seeking ghost with a paper-thin motivation. Look at that difference. In the original trilogy, every confrontation with the villains felt personal and earned. In the later films, we're watching CGI ghost sharks chase our heroes because, well, it looks cool in a trailer. Reason number 3. Plot complexity overload. Remember when Pirates of the Caribbean told straightforward stories? The first film was essentially a rescue mission with some supernatural elements. Even as the second and third films expanded the mythology, they still maintained clear character motivations and stakes. But by On Stranger Tides, we're juggling multiple parties racing for the Fountain of Youth, with prophecies, ritual requirements, and magical chalices thrown in for good measure. The 5th film somehow managed to be even more convoluted, with a trident that can break all curses, that's convenient, yet another revenge-seeking ghost captain, and astronomy-based puzzles that felt more like National Treasure than Pirates of the Caribbean. Reason number 4. The CGI Takeover. The original Pirates trilogy was a masterclass in blending practical effects with CGI. Remember those incredible skeleton pirates in the first film? They worked because they were based on real performances, with CGI enhancing rather than replacing the actors. Even Davy Jones and his crew in the second film, while heavily CGI dependent, were implemented in such a way that they had a weight and presence that felt real. But look at what happened in the later films. By Dead Men Tell No Tales, we're watching entire action sequences that felt like video game cutscenes. Ghost sharks, zombie seagulls, and ships that transform like they're in a Michael Bay movie. The practical sword fights and ship battles that made the original film so thrilling were replaced by increasingly outlandish CGI spectacles. Reason number 5. The Jack Sparrow problem. Let's address the elephant in the room, the evolution, or rather devolution, of Captain Jack Sparrow. In the first film, Jack was a brilliant character because you never quite know if he's a genius or just incredibly lucky. His plans within plans kept everyone guessing, and even his seemingly random actions usually had some kind of purpose. But as the franchise progressed, Jack became a caricature of himself. The clever manipulator who could talk his way out of almost anything became increasingly buffoonish. By the 5th film, he's reduced to a stumbling around drunk, relying purely on luck rather than wit. The writers forget that Jack's eccentric behavior is always a facade. Beneath it is a cunning survivor who knows exactly what he's doing. What made Jack work in the original trilogy wasn't just Johnny Depp's performance, it was how the character served the story. He was the wild card who complicated Will and Elizabeth's journey, not the main focus. When the later films tried to make him the central character, they lost sight of what made him special in the first place. Reason number 6. The missing heart. At its core, the original Pirates trilogy was a love story. Will and Elizabeth's romance was the emotional anchor that gave weight to all the supernatural shenanigans and swashbuckling adventures. Their relationship evolved naturally across 3 films, from young love to a complex partnership tested by circumstances and choices. The later films try to recreate this magic with new couples, Philip and Serena On Stranger Tides, Henry and Karina in Dead Men Tell No Tales, but these relationships felt forced and underdeveloped. You can't just throw 2 attractive young people together and expect the audience to care about their romance without any proper development. Even worse, the attempt to give Jack Sparrow a love interest in On Stranger Tides with Penelope Cruz's Angelica fell flat because it went against everything we know about the character. Jack was never meant to be a romantic lead. His true love was always the sea and freedom. Reason number 7. The Mythology Mess. The Pirates franchise built a rich mythology in its first 3 films. The Brethren Court, Calypso, Davy Jones' Curse. It all felt cohesive and interconnected. Each supernatural element served the story and expanded our understanding of this world's rules. But look what happened after. The Fountain of Youth in the 4th film felt disconnected from everything we knew about this world. Then the 5th film introduced Poseidon's Trident, a convenient plot device that could break all curses at once. It's as if each new film was trying to one-up the previous supernatural elements without considering how they might fit into the established mythology. This created a world where anything could happen without consequences. When they can break any curse and bring back any dead character, the stakes become meaningless. The tight mythology of the original trilogy was replaced by a grab bag of random supernatural elements that served the plot rather than the story. What could have saved the franchise? The frustrating thing about Pirates of the Caribbean's decline is that the blueprint for success was there all along. In the DNA of the original trilogy, we can see it. Let's take a look at what could have preserved this beloved franchise. First, maintain the balance. The original trilogy worked because it understood that Jack Sparrow was best as part of an ensemble. If the later films wanted to continue without Will and Elizabeth, they needed to create equally compelling new characters who could stand toe-to-toe with Jack, not just react to him. Second, respect the mythology. The supernatural elements in Pirates worked best when they served character development, not just spectacle. Barbossa's curse made us understand his desperation. Davy Jones' story was a tragic tale of love and betrayal. New supernatural elements should have built upon this foundation rather than just trying to reinvent the wheel. Third, practical effects matter. The franchise should have maintained its commitment to practical stunts and effects where possible. CGI should enhance the story, not replace traditional filmmaking. Look at how modern films like Top Gun Maverick blend practical effects with CGI. That's the approach that Pirates needed to maintain. As Disney considers rebooting the franchise, there are valuable lessons to be learned from both its successes and failures. The original Pirates of the Caribbean proved that audiences still love well-crafted adventure stories. It showed that you can take risks. Remember, everybody thought Johnny Depp's portrayal of Jack Sparrow would ruin the movie, and it ended up earning him an Oscar nomination. And that's it. So, what do you think went wrong with the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise? Was it the over-reliance on CGI, the sidelining of key characters, or simple franchise fatigue? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This video was made by movie fans for movie fans.